Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. Today we have Perla from Mexico who has joined us to share her experience of stuttering and is well on the journey. So welcome to the call, Perla.
Very much, Rama. Perla Ernest, nice to speak to you. And I'm here to share my experiences. I'm sure there's so many people out there who are willing to share their own experience with this journey of stuttering or stammering.
Indeed. So if you could share how you came to the UK when you were 19 and what happened next.
Definitely. Well, there's so many people. I also went to speech therapy, psychiatrist, I do remember. That was my last option because anxiety was very, very high. So my last option was going to the psychiatrist, and he said, yes, with this pill, you're going to feel really calm. So I said, okay, that's going to be really nice. I was taking the pills, and I would feel so tranquil and so calm. But when I was speaking, I was still because I was a sort of overt person. So I could be quite fluent, apparently, but I would change words, I would use tricks, I would use so many things. And when I didn't have the ability to change words or tricks, then I would stumble. Then I would have the typical, the pressure between my lips, no? So I said, well, to be honest, if this pill is not going to take my stammer away, there's no point of taking it, even though I do feel quite calm. But my need is not to feel calm, but to know how to communicate. So by that time, I had gone to the States for 2 courses where I was seeing that people were having results. But Perla Ernest was not having results. Before then, I went to so many therapies in Saudi Arabia. As I grew up in Saudi Arabia. I grew up in Brunei as well. And my parents used to take me to those courses, to those speech therapies, to see what could happen. But anyway, nothing happened. My dad's Welsh, so that's why I went back to the UK when I was 19. So I said, well, I haven't tried anything in the UK, so I might as well go. Oh, no, but before that, I enrolled into this course called Neurolinguistics and so. It was going to be a 4-year course. So when I would speak to my teachers, because they were in charge in all sorts of pathologies with speech, with hearing, with seeing and stuff like that. So I would tell him, I stutter, I stammer. And their answer was, Perla, calm down. Calm down before you speak. Okay, calm down. What shall I do then? And I would calm down apparently, but when I wanted to speak, I would be like, eh. But it was so funny because I would rush through my words, as obviously I had that anxiety as I will stammer. So that's why I would hope to say everything so quickly. And at the end of the day, nobody understand the word I would say. Like, Perla, what did you want to say? Oh my God, that was quite stressful, no? So I said, well, I don't think I'm going to learn anything here. That's when I took the decision, made the decision, of traveling to the UK. And that's when I enrolled to, I'm okay to say the name?
I think better not.
Okay. And that's when I enrolled to this course in the UK, where I was with so many people who stammered. There was overt people, covert stutterers. So I said, wow, this is so nice. This is the first time I'm actually meeting people that are like me, because I thought I was on my own.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest, Rama, I had in Spanish, there's a word that says, ya había tocado fondo, which means I had already touched rock bottom. Mm-hmm. I felt very mediocre. I felt very frustrated. I felt very annoyed, angry, and sad because there were so many things I wanted to do with my life, but I had the belief that my stammer was holding me back. Well, anyway, I took this course with so many people. I was very humble. I was very humble in following A, B, C, D. Leaving the course, it would tell me speak with 3 words. Perla would not care, and she would speak with 3 words every single time. I felt uncomfortable. Obviously, I felt uncomfortable because I wanted to compare myself to a fluent speaker. So I would say, well, how on earth am I going to be speaking 3 words for the rest of my life? Then I realized that it wasn't for the rest of my life. It was only for a period of time. The things that I discovered was that my concentration was very powerful. My mental ability was very powerful as well in order to speak. So speech-wise, I was good. I was very good. I could answer things quite assertively. I was quite eloquent as well. I didn't have to go to my filler words or to my tricks. No, I would be quite fluent, quite assertive while speaking.
And
But
that would be still, and that would be still speaking a maximum of 3 words per breath. Or had you progressed by then?
No, I had progress. I mean, I'm telling you that I only used 3 words per breath for the first 3 months after my first course. But I would feel quite dependent on courses. So after 6 months, I was like, oh my God, I have this block. Oh my God, I have this. Then I have to go back to another course. I think I was like that for about 2 years. Within those 2 years, I would speak with so many words. I would speak with 7, 10, 8 words. I mean, I wouldn't really count them. But I was feeling quite good speech-wise. Speech-wise, I did not have a refill. What's the word? I forgot the word, and I'm not a what?
Refresher?
No, when you fall down. Oh, I forgot the word. Recaída. Recaída is in Spanish. When you stumble again big time. Relapse.
Relapse.
I did not have a relapse for the first 3 years, I could say. 3 to 4 years, I did not have a relapse. So speech-wise, I was quite confident. I was quite assertive with no relapse. But to be honest, my emotional part and my mental part wasn't aligned because I hadn't worked on that. Even though I was taught by the hexagon and my beliefs and this and that, the other, but it was just mentioned. It wasn't taught. So that's when I started seeking things for myself. And I remember after my 4th year, I decided to have a relapse because I did not like the person that I was converting, because I didn't have my essence while I was speaking, no? Everything was like between mechanical and disciplined, spontaneous, and this and that, the other. But the worst thing was with stammering was always in my head. It was always in my head. Even though I was quite disciplined and spontaneous while I was speaking, but stammering was always in my head. So that's...
Could you explain that? What you mean by stammering was in your head?
Disciplined, spontaneous. I would speak with a correct and perfect synchronization of breathing diaphragmatically and speaking at the top of my breath. I would emphasize my first words, blah, blah, a certain period of words. Then I would let go of the air, pause, and all those sorts of things. So that would come automatically every single time. That's for me the disciplined, spontaneous stage. But afterwards, I felt that my essence, my personality wasn't coming through. I even spoke to my coach, which I love him. I went to the UK in December 2018 and we spoke. It was so nice. And he would tell me, Perla, probably this is your real personality. But I was because I became very square-minded, very rigid, very square-minded, very strong while I was speaking. Well, probably yes, that was my real personality, but I wasn't liking it at all. Because I'm like the sort of cheerful person, no, smiley, open, flexible, humble, that sort of person. So in personality wise, I was lacking that essence.
So you felt that your speech, even though it was pretty good or very good, you felt your personality was being constrained by the over control or the over thought about your speech.
Exactly, exactly. So that's when I decided, I said, oh, I don't want this anymore. And that's when I had my first relapse. And then when I had my first relapse, I was like, oh, I shouldn't have had this relapse. What am I going to do now? I have so many plugs and blah, blah, blah. But I was told that I had to practice so many times, and I had to speak on the phone for so many times, go outside and stuff like that. So it took me about 2 months, 2 to 3 months to get back on track. But I think I didn't have that rigid, assertive way of speaking afterwards. And that's when my personality came into. From there, I took some other courses that had to do with emotional well-being, with mental well-being. Mental well-being as in mental assertiveness, mastering my mind, knowing how to manage my emotions in different situations.
And
So
where
that,
did you do those courses? Was it in the UK?
no, in Mexico and the States.
Mhm.
After that, I went to some other courses that didn't have to do with the speech because I was not interested in the sort of speech side, but I was interested in the emotional and mental things. So that's when I took courses here in Mexico, took courses over there in the States.
Yeah, what you learned?
I learned so many things, that I'm the master of my destiny, that things come into two things. You stop and you choose. And happiness is not a mental state. It is a choice of the 6 basic emotions that life has, that we have as human beings. So I have the decision of choosing from those 6 basic emotions.
Could you share those 6 emotions for people who don't know?
Anger, calm, sadness, happiness. Two more. I'm forgetting those 2 others. So it's sadness, tranquility, anger, love, hang on a second because I am forgetting the two more, but I'll speak more about this.
Okay.
So when I learned that I have the decision of choosing from these 6 basic emotions and taking charge of my life, plus with the things that I have learned before of feel the fear and do it anyway, which is quite good, and something that I made my phrase was make the world your comfort zone. Make the world your comfort zone. So that sort of state of mind helped me so much with the sort of emotional thing. I went to spirituality as well, which had to do with breathing and connecting my mind with my heart, because I didn't feel I was quite congruent in speaking what reality was. I would only speak what my mind wanted to say because that's what people want to hear. But I wouldn't speak what my heart would be. So I was telling you that I discovered that happiness is not a mental state, it's a choice from the 6 basic emotions, which has to do with anger, joy, sadness, dislike, fear. And no hope was the word. What's the word opposite from hope?
Hopelessness? Or
Hopelessness. No, I mean that would be 7 with hopelessness. So fear comes into stammering, no? Because we have constant disposition of stammering, and before we stammer, we fear the situation. We fear that, oh, I'm going to block, oh, I'm going to do this, oh, I'm going to do that. So when I started understanding the emotional parts of the configurations of us as human beings, that's when I said, well, fear is only a pure illusion in our minds. Because when we have the capacity of overcoming that fear and seeing things so natural and so compassionate, because I think something that I lacked was that I was so hard on myself. So by being so rigid and so hard on myself, I would push myself to be perfect in every situation, and that had to be also with my speech. So when I understood that, okay, I grew up with a condition of stammering or stuttering, I have the full capacity of overcoming it psychologically, mentally, and physically. And if I stumble 1 or 2, it's like every single person in this world stumbles sometimes in their own words. And not because of that, I'm still going to be cataloging. No, what's the word in English? I'm not going to put a sticker on my head saying, oh, I'm a recovering stammer. No, I don't believe in that anymore, because I'm not sick, and recovering has to do like if we're sick or something. So no, so that's when I said, well, I'm a person who grew up with a stammer, but I've worked so much on myself that now I love to communicate. That's very different of putting a sticker onto myself saying, oh, I'm a recovering stammer, or I grew up with a stammer, but I'm still working on my speech. Because if I say I'm still working on my speech, my brain will never understand that I've got really good results. My brain will always be thinking, oh, it's never enough for her. She hasn't come to what she wants because she's still working on her speech. So that's when I say, well, now I love to communicate. And now my communication is my way of creating, is my way of putting into service my talents and my strengths to my community, to my country, to my family, to my interpersonal relationships. Because the stammer that I grew up with is only a 3% of what I do, not of what I am. And I'm 97% more. And I do 97% more behaviors than stuttering. So when I have a small block, when I have a small repetition, no, it's like, okay, no problem. Everybody has one of this, no? But it's not like, oh my God, I'm falling back into the trap of stuttering. No, and my self-esteem comes down and I feel bad. No. But when I want to be very assertive and very, well, yes, mentally assertive and orally assertive, then I do a bit of work. I study on the things I want to talk about. If I have a debate, if I have a very important meeting with government, with private IP, with private companies, all sorts of things where I want to have a really good outcome, then I study a bit. And that helps me a lot. But that doesn't mean that I'm still working on my speech. That means that I'm actualizing myself. That means that I'm preparing to be more assertive in that specific situation, you know? And something that I learned as well was, who is guiding my life? My stammer or me? Who is living my life? My stammer or me? And that's when I took so much power away from the word stammering or stammer. And I said, Perla, it's time to lead your life based on what you really are, based on what I really am.
And who are you, Perla?
Sorry?
Who are you, Perla?
I'm a humble, I'm a passionate, I'm a lovable, assertive, and curious, determined human being. That's who I am.
Perfect. So to summarize what you did, you went on a course for 4 years, and then you left and you went on your own path to discover your inner self, your connection with the universe and with the creator, and you studied more about your emotional aspects, the mind, the breathing, and that is how you became free.
Yes, I mean, after being a student on the course, I brought the course to Mexico, and I was operating it for a couple of years here in the country. Then afterwards, I separated from the brand, and I'm so happy that the brand is still here in Mexico City, because there's people who will find that link towards, no? And it's only been a year and a half that I've opened my program here in Mexico, which has to do with the physical, with the emotional, with the mental, and with the spiritual part. And something that I love is that people are not being dependent to my courses. People are being quite independent and now leading their own lives. And
they don't come back to you year after year after year like they do on the program.
Don't. They come maybe for a second time, then afterwards they understand the whole thing, because we also give sessions of something called neurotransformation, which has to do with the subconscious. So you work on so many beliefs that you thought you had, and those beliefs are the ones who control your life, or are the ones who make you free. So the intention of this program is to make people free.
Perfect.
Make people free in their lives.
Could you share how you are able to look at the beliefs of a person who stutters or who has chronic stuttering, and how you are able to talk them through it so they can realize for themselves that their beliefs, obviously it helped them when they were a child or a teenager, but now they're an adult, much older. Could you share a bit more on the technical aspects of that?
Definitely. I'm going to speak from my on my situation. I discovered that I started stuttering by the age of 3 years old. And I remember that it was because my mum was pregnant of my second sister. So as my mum had to be in bed for the next 9 months, and my dad had to work, so I wasn't the center of attention where I used to be the center of attention. So call it that I also have that genetic predisposition of stammering, because the stammer comes from my father's part of family, no? My uncles stammer, my grandmother stammers, and so on. So I recall that I started stammering when I did not have that attention. My way of seeking for attention was my stammer. So it did help me when I was a little child, but that behavior was learned when I was 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and I just couldn't get out of it, because that was a strong belief that I had, that I stammered. And plus I had so many situations that I couldn't even say my name or ask for a Coke at the local shop and stuff like that. So when I discovered that it was only a belief and I could get rid of that belief and be free of stammering, that's when things started changing. And the thing that helped me do it was neurotransformation, work with my subconscious brain. I mean, I already had a good result on the physical part of my speech, so I had evidence that I could do it. But as I said from the beginning, my mental and my emotional part was not aligned. So when I started working on and knowing that I did not want to be dependent on a technique, that I want to be dependent on my self-confidence, that I wanted to depend on my mental assertiveness, that's when stammering would go away. And there's sometimes of my life where I do feel a bit low and my mind wants to go back to, oh, because you stammer, this is going to be so difficult. No, Perla, it is not. It is not going to be difficult. You make it difficult or you don't make it difficult. So when I get into important speaking situations where I have to speak in front of 3,000 people, 5,000 people, because that's something that I do nowadays, is I connect with myself, I connect with my talents, I connect with who I really am. I empower myself, and I just feel in love with myself, and I transmit that to my audience. And that's how I feel free. So, for me, it has been a way of connecting my mind with my heart, because scientifically it's been proven that the heart has more neurons than the brain, and it is scientifically proven. I'm going to give you the link to it so you can have a read. Yes, our heart has more neurons than the brain. Therefore, why don't we use the heart as our brain? So there's some really important things. The way that we feel, we first start with our body. When we imagine things, our body feels it. Then the body makes a sensation, and that sensation becomes an emotion, and that emotion becomes a perception, and that perception becomes a belief. If we work the whole thing, then each person who has the capacity of transforming conditions, because I think that stammering is only a pure multifactorial condition, as it is being obese, as it is being depressed, clinically depressed. All these conditions that human beings have, we have the whole capacity. Talking about depression, I learned that when we use gratitude into our lives, we become very happy people. And we can reduce the depression by 50% by just being grateful. You write what you're grateful of. Sometimes you think you don't have anything to be grateful, but you have a roof to live in, you have food to eat. There's so many people who don't have that. And all those small things, no? I mean, I feel grateful that I gave an amazing course last week. I feel grateful that I live in a house that I like to live in. I feel grateful that I have friends who are so loving to me. I feel grateful that each day of my life is a way to create new things and to discover new things. So that gratefulness in my life has been a very powerful weapon, if you want to see it like that. It has been a very powerful tool to boost my life. And it's also clinically proved, scientifically proved, that gratefulness reduces by 50% depression. And it maintains you focused on what you really want. People who stammer, people who have conditions, are so focused on what they don't have, on what they're feeling, sorry. And they sometimes don't feel the grateful things they have in their life. And when they reconnect with their talents and their strength, that's when they can do so many things.
Mm-hmm.
So that has been for me my way of feeling free.
Perfect. Thank you so much for sharing, Perla. Just one last question. What other beliefs did you have about yourself when you were an out of control stammerer or a person that is having to work on the speech? And what beliefs do you now have in comparison to what you had previously?
Before I would feel incompetent, before I would reject myself, and therefore people would reject me. People didn't reject me because of myself. People would reject me because of the behavior that I used to use as an avoidance, arrogant, as in I had to lie to say some words now. I mean, I do remember that when I was introduced or I had to say my name to new people, I would change my name. And the second or third time I would see them, like, what name did I tell them? Because I can't remember, no? So people would think that I would be a liar and all those sorts of things. So I would feel incompetent. I would feel sad. I would feel rejected. I would feel fearful. I mean, fear was a mode of living for me 24/7. I would feel mediocre. I would feel that I wouldn't be able to do so many things for myself, and I would have to be dependent on people, from my family. I thought that I had to get married to a rich guy so he could support me financially, because I wasn't going to be able to do it for myself. So I had so many limitations, mental limitations for me to live. Or I would say that wasn't living, that was surviving. What beliefs I have now? Free, competent, ambitious, humble, passionate, unconditional, or what's the word in English? Unconditional. Unconditional, powerful, assertive, and a leader in my community. And nowadays I show people from how you can't do things to yes, I'm doing it. So those are the beliefs I have now for myself. I'm positive. I'm a constant learner. I love to learn each single time, so that's a very good trait that I have, because I can be very adaptable. And I have the ability to connect everything. I'm talking to you and I'm learning from you, and then afterwards I can connect what we talk about and some other things that I'm going to be learning afterwards. I'm a maximizer. I'm a developer. And I've got so many ideas. No, I mean, there's so many ideas that come to my brain that I start structuring, and I start doing, oh, well, now I can do this. Oh, now I can do that. And, oh, I'm just doing that. I've got no people. men that I like, men that I fancy, not a problem. Because even though I was dealing with my feet back, I would feel rejected, then it would not happen to me. So being disciplined in my would make my personality very rigid. Remember that I had 7, 8 years ago. Why can't you feel yourself by being authentic? Yes, you're so like you want to have everything. And everything is so perfect that I can't feel authentic. Like you want to breathe, you want to use your words. And I thought, well, because you haven't seen the trouble that I have caused. So this is my freedom, I would say, in those years. And I was so fearful of making mistakes. So fearful. So that would make me be very perfectionist. Or perfectionist. What's the word?
Perfectionist.
Perfectionist. And obviously by being perfectionist, my emotional and mental parents like so tiring. I just learned everybody else, and the stammering comes in the second month.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your story, Perla. I'm really grateful for you taking your time out to share this with the people, because a lot of people are of the mindset that they have to work on their speech forever, which is what I thought myself.
No, not forever. For some time, yes. For some time, yes, because I do believe that we have that lack of processing things while we speak. So sometimes a good pause is good, so we can structure our thoughts, but you don't have to do it forever. You just want to reconnect with yourself. That's it. To be free.
Yes, and just a question just popped up into my head. So for someone who is actually a chronic stutterer and blocking on every single word when they are talking to other people, however, when they're on their own, they can read and speak to themselves perfectly fine. What advice could you give to them to...
Could you repeat the question?
Yeah, sorry. So for someone who is a chronic stutterer or having difficulty saying every single word with someone other than their family or other than their partner, and they can speak to themselves perfectly fine. So for those people, what advice or suggestions could you give so that they can have immediate relief to get a quick win, apart from going onto a course and doing the breathing and doing those type of things? Do you have any suggestions in your experience?
Yes, definitely. First of all, if we say that that person is a chronic stutterer, he will always be a chronic stutterer. So the first thing is to take that label out of that person.
Mm-hmm.
Because even a covert person could always be a chronic covert person, a chronic covert stutterer. Or even the overt could always be a chronic overt stutterer. Mm-hmm. So the first thing is not to label ourselves as that. Mm-hmm. The second of it, I do believe in the breathing and in the pausing. So powerful. See so many good speakers like Barack Obama, which he has so many important and interesting and powerful messages. He pauses when he speaks. Because cognitively, we do not have the capacity of saying so many words per breath and being assertive. So being assertive has to do also by pausing in the physical way. So pause, breathe, And plus work a lot in your internal way, in your internal part, which has to do, develop your life among things that you are, which has to do with your strengths, which has to do with your talents. And the physical part, I do think, is important for a period of time. But the most important thing, when you believe, you create. And when you create, is because you believe. So if you believe that you can do so many things and speak so assertively to people and to share your message to the world, then that day you'll start being free from. So in a resume is, don't label yourself. 2, develop yourself from your strengths and your talent. It's scientifically proven that when we do this, we produce 60% more. We compromise ourselves 6 times more, and we are 3 times happier. 3, pause. Pausing is a really important tool, and people who don't stammer even use it. So why don't we use it if we want to be assertive while speaking? I still pause because I know that my message is very important to people. And because I'm in love with it, that's why I pause. And number 5, I'm not sure if I'm in number 5, is 3% of your stammer is what you do. You're not 100% a stammerer. That's what you do. That's not who you are. Be perseverant. Be determined. Be brave. And feel whatever you have to do, you need to do. Because I can't tell you, do this, do that, do that. No, you will have the answer, because some things have worked for me. Maybe some things won't work for you. Only you will know the answer. And that's by listening to what your body, your mind, and your heart has to tell you. And I'm sure you will find the answer, the treatment, or the course, or the therapy. It's only up to you. By taking the reins of your life. At the end of the day, something that has helped me a lot is, Perla, take the reins of your life, because my communication is what makes me create things. And nobody's going to take the reins of my life. Nobody. Therefore, my stammer is not going to rule my life. I rule my life.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Perla.